Hello, beautiful people. Yes, I mean you. Of course, you are beautiful. It doesn't matter how you see yourself in the mirror or what people told you about you. Trust me, you are beautiful. You might be ugly physically though and still possess a beautiful heart. My dear, that's what really matters because beauty lies in the eyes of beholders. You can't eat beauty. It doesn't sustain you. What is fundamentally beautiful is compassion, yes, for yourself and those people around you. That kind of beauty inflames the heart and merchants the soul. Welcome to Africa Diary. Of course, you already know how we do it. We give it to you back-to-back stories from the trending news across Africa. My name is Ajara Tijani. Where we're going today is so far. So let's do it already. Welcome once again. Welcome back. Africa Diary is the program, and this is reaching you from CBA TV, the voice of East Africa and beyond. Now, you know how we do it. We start from the home front. Here in Somaliland, so much have happened over the week, and many things are actually trending. In Somali region alone, a lot to talk about, and across Africa in general. Now, let's start from Somaliland. Somaliland Electoral Commission urged to extend voter registration time. People in Hargeisa city and its environs trooped out en masse to participate in the voter registration process, which began on Sunday with a call on the Electoral Commission to extend the deadline for the registration and perfect all technical challenges associated with the exercise as the country prepares for local councils and parliamentary elections next year. The voter registration, which began on Sunday, the 13th of December, witnessed an impressive turnout from the members of the community districts in Hargeisa and its environs. As many said, it was a smooth exercise.
For all of you is very well. The process is going very well. I visited this place this morning like 6 a.m. and now I take my card ready. We're done with the registration.
However, there was a low turnout in another part of Hargeisa where there were many participants in the process said to be marred with lots of anomalies. CBA lanes capture many centers across the city with numbers of people on the lines waiting to register. Our correspondent spoke with the Bedu youth and others who complained of late arrival of the staff, shortage of staff and technical hitches. On the other hand, our registration staff who granted our interview said the process was hitch-free except for network problems.
So far, except the internet connections sometimes are slow, and that's natural. We cannot say it's a mechanical problem. We cannot say. So, but so now we are doing well, and everything is smooth.
At the Odon Hills, people expressed their dissatisfaction on the whole exercise, while they call on the Commission for an extension of the exercise to be able to capture more people.
It's really bad. The problem is, Odon Hill is one of the biggest villages in Hargeisa, and we have thousands of people, and they give us only 4 days, and it's not enough. So we need more time to people to register to cast their vote. And the problem is, the problem we have in Somaliland is everything is politicized, and 4 days is not enough.
All right, still in Somaliland, one of the major trending issues in Somaliland is the visitation of the Somaliland president to Kenya. Now, this really is generating a lot of comments both on traditional media and on social media. Now, Somaliland President met former Kenya Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Somaliland President Museveni Abdi met with former Prime Minister of Kenya and African Union High Representative for Infrastructure Development, Raila Odinga, in Nairobi. Let's check out what the meeting was all about.
Somaliland President Musa Bihi has met one of the African politicians who support Somaliland to be a sovereign country. This man is Raila Omolo Odinga, the former Kenyan Prime Minister and currently serving as the African Union High Representative for Infrastructure Development. President Bihi said it is his pleasure to have a meeting with their nation's great friends and discuss issues concerning development of the region. Raila has been among top politicians on the continent who have persistently called on the governments to recognize Hargeisa, arguing Somaliland would help stabilize the region.
Your Excellency, President Musa Bihi Abdi, ministers from Somaliland, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Hamjambo. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. We are delighted to receive our guests from the Horn of Africa, from Somaliland. This indeed is a historic occasion when for the first time a leader from that emerging country has been invited to come and visit our country. Welcome once again, Your Excellency.
At the Chatham House, London, where he delivered a public lecture last year, Odinga said he is a strong supporter of the full recognition of Somaliland, and he thinks Somaliland has a very strong case.
Follow-up to that report is this one. Somalia recalls all diplomatic staff and families from Nairobi. In a continuing barrage of decrees, President Mohamed Farmajo's government has ordered all Somali diplomatic staff and their families in Kenya to return home in 5 days, in a growing sense of uncertainty over what other drastic measures the outgoing administration intends to take. What was the root cause of this dispute, of this fracas, so to say? Well, details we get to see in this report. We'll be right back.
dowladda federaalka Soomaaliya iyadoo ka duulaysa madaxbannaanideeda qaran ee uu damaanad qaadaya xeerka iyo qanuunka caalamiga.
It was recently when the Somalia government recalled its ambassador to Kenya for consultation, but now it has directed all Somalia's diplomats in Kenya to return home within 5 days. This seems to be strengthening diplomatic tensions between Somalia and Kenya. Somalia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs instructed the remaining staff to return home days after it severed ties with Kenya and closed its embassy. The directive adds to several others within a month, which have seen a series of diplomatic gaffes. Kenya has, however, chosen not to respond to the recent pronouncements, but said it will appoint a team to work on normalizing relations between the two countries. Kenya also denied allegations of interfering Somalia's sovereignty via Jubaland state leader.
Away from that diplomatic tension between Kenya and Somalia, Somalia Prime Minister Rob Lu chairs Gamoudou cabinet meeting, urging to apprehend the killers of senior military officers who were murdered in an ambush attack while on business trip. Was one of the key agenda of the cabinet meeting the Somali Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Rob Lu chaired in Gamoudou State. The Gamoudou Cabinet Ministers meeting has in attendance Ahmed Kariye Korkar. Rob Lu asked Gamoudou to work with Somali government and cooperate with them in security and economy. He emphasized how he was sad of the death of soldiers on duty protecting their people and keeping their country safe. The Prime Minister urged the autonomy to hold free and fair elections in the realm and avoid irregularities and address any unreasonable complaints before the elections. After the meeting, Hassan Ashkir, the state minister, briefed the local press with a call on youth not to allow to be used as saboteurs, urging them to actively participate in the country's reconstruction. Before his departure from Dusha Marib, he laid the foundation stone for the construction of a football playground. He pledged to the people of the Gamoudou state to help develop the region by talking concerning organs of the federal government of Somalia. His spokesman said Mr. Rob Lu will continue to visit further places in the self-rule of Gamoudou state of Somalia. Welcome back. Africa Diary is the program. Right away now, let's take this. Telesom launches an environmental protection project to better the lives of people in a bid to make life easy for the people and to encourage environmental friendly activities such as afforestation in Somaliland. Telesom has launched an environmental protection project to impact many lives positively. Details in this report. The program, which was attended by many key players in the environmental-related businesses, is part of the social responsibility of the telecommunication giant Telesom in Somaliland. Telesom Gas as a business, according to the organizers, is not only about transactions, but also concentrates on providing environmental education and health to people, which in turn impact the environment. In order to effectively engender this policy, Telesom Gas decided to slash certain percentage from the price of their gas to discourage deforestation and make life easy for its customers.
Today we are launching a new project that we are going to protect our environment because we know that the climate change and the environmental change is going day to day. The frequency that and its implication is what we felt and what we know. For that reason, as a company, we are committed to take our responsibility about the protection of the environment, to put our people a green environment, to make our people more green economy, and to make our people better life. Therefore, for that reason, Telesom company launched today a project that's going to make or to protect the deforestation in our country. This project, Telesom company will subsidize 70% of the previous price of this LPG cooking gas, and which is previous was $40. Now the company will pay another 70% of that price.
Ahmed Ibrahim Awali, an environmentalist, remarks the launching of the program as highly welcoming.
The European Union has temporarily suspended its plan to give about 90 million euros in budget support payment to Ethiopia due to concerns over the crisis in Tigray region. The move represents the wish of the European Union to stop hostilities by the government forces and its concerns about restrictions on humanitarian and media access to the northern region.
Humanitarian colleagues continue to tell us of dire shortages of food, water, fuel, cash, and electricity, as well as telecommunication services and other vital supplies in the Tigray region.
To have access to the fund from the EU, the Commission spokeswoman, Ana Pisonero Hernandez, highlighted 5 requirements to be met by the Ethiopian government, which are granting full humanitarian access for aid workers to reach people in need in all affected areas, allowing civilians to seek refuge in neighboring countries, ethnically targeted measures and hate speech must stop, mechanisms to monitor and investigate allegations of human rights violations, and communication lines and media access to Tigray should be fully re-established. The United Nations said that the 5-week war led to the death of thousands and displaced more than 950,000 people. The conflict started on November 4 after Ethiopia Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed announced a military attack targeting Tigray ruling party, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF. He said the move came in response to TPLF planned attacks on federal army camps in the region. Abiy Ahmed declared victory after federal troops took the regional capital Mekele in late November, saying hostilities were completed. The UN has since reported fighting in multiple parts of the region. The postponed EU funding totals 88.5 million euros and includes 60 million euros for a program supporting transport and logistics links with Ethiopia's neighbors and 17.5 million euros for the health sector.
But now we are in Uganda, and at the mention of the nation right about now, what comes to mind is the presidential election, that is coming up next year, January. And when you mention that, there is only one thing that comes to mind. Of course, two characters comes to mind. We will be talking about the incumbent Museveni, who has been ruling the nation for the past how many years? Maybe before I was born. And of course, one singular opposition, very vibrant. I'm talking about Bobi Wine. Uganda writes YouTube to ban online channels over riot. Uganda's regulator of the communication sector has written to Google, who owns YouTube, a video sharing platform, asking it to close 14 channels allegedly linked to last month's riot that left more than 50 people dead.
The riots broke out in the capital Kampala and other major towns following the arrest of opposition presidential candidate and musician Robert Kyagulanyi, popularly known as Bobi Wine, for violating COVID restrictions. Some of the YouTube channels targeted for closure are linked to Bobi Wine, but the head of legal affairs at the Uganda Communications Commission, UCC, told media that it's just a coincidence. The commission, in its letter to Google, said the channels were used to mobilize riots and broadcast content that are against the law. Ugandans are set to vote on 14th January for a new parliament and president. Incumbent President Yoweri Museveni, who has been in power for over 3 decades, is seeking re-election.
We're still in Uganda. Ugandan President reappoints son as head of special forces. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has reappointed his eldest son, Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, as the head of Uganda's Special Forces Command, an elite unit with the responsibility of guarding the president and first family. Well, this surely would definitely generate a lot of comments, but let's see the reports. Gen Kainerugaba has had a meteoric rise through the ranks of the army, having trained at the British Academy, Sandhurst and other military programs in the US, Egypt and South Africa. He also served as presidential advisor on special operations and regains his position as head of the Special Forces Command after more than a decade.
As you heard, there's a process. There's a commissioning board that looks at each case by case and decides. So you've never heard of a message where I promote myself.
The former head of Uganda's military operation in Somalia, Major General Paul Lukech, became Deputy Chief of Police. He has been credited for success in the fight against Al-Shabaab in 2011 and 2012. the man who oversaw recent violence in Kampala and the death of more than 50 people after the arrest of presidential candidate Bobi Wine, Major General Muziyi, has been reassigned to Army headquarters for redeployment. The message we have for you from Kenya is different. Kenya named among United Nations Environment Award winners. Nzambi Mati, 29, has been named among 7 winners of this year United Nations Environment Programme's 2020 Young Champions of the Earth Award. She developed the prototype for a machine that turns discarded plastic into paving stones. Let's see a report. She developed the prototype for a machine that turns discarded plastic into paving stones. Miss Mati produces the plastic pavers under her company, Jenge Makers. Miss Mati, who majored in material science and worked as an engineer in Kenya's oil industry, was inspired to launch her business after routinely coming across plastic bags strewn along Nairobi streets. She says plastic is a material that is misused and misunderstood. The potential is enormous, but its afterlife can be disastrous.
Right now, we have a capacity of producing 1,000 to 1,500 bricks a day. So far, we have recycled 20 metric tons, and we are looking to push that value to 50 by the end of next financial year. This is the plastic wastes we get from factories. With this, we mix with sand, as the plastic is like the binder. We have 3 machines. The extruder does the mixing of plastic waste with sand at very high temperatures, and then the press compresses it.
The Young Champions of the Earth Prize is awarded every year to 7 entrepreneurs under the age of 30 with bold ideas for sustainable environmental change. The 7 winners, hailing from different regions around the world, receive seed funding, mentoring, and communication support to amplify their efforts. To Sudan. Sudan welcomes U.S. decision to end isolation. The decision of the United States of America to lift Sudan from its terror sponsor list has been received with optimism as business and commercial activities reach a new peak in the capital state, Khartoum.
The decision of the United States of America to lift Sudan from its terror sponsor list has been received with optimism as business and commercial activities reach a new peak in the capital state, Khartoum. The U.S. has earlier officially removed Sudan from its state sponsor of terror list. President Donald Trump gave Congress the statutory 45-day notice of this move in October as part of a deal that involved Sudan paying $335 million to U.S. victims of terror attacks. At the same time, Sudan agreed to normalize relations with Israel. Washington blacklisted Sudan in 1993, accusing the regime led by Omar al-Bashir of supporting terrorist organizations. The move by the U.S. government will pave the way for aid, debt relief, and investors to come into the country, going through a rocky political transition and economic hardships. For months, Sudan currency has been hammered by hyperinflation, soaring by 254% year-on-year in November. Meanwhile, the people of Sudan has welcomed the move and described it as much-needed one to bring the economic fortunes of the country back.
I definitely think that people will no longer think of me as a terrorist, or at least in a maybe less, because I am so many other things.
Guinea's President Alpha Condé has been sworn into office for a 3rd time after a violently contested election.
Moi, Alpha Condé, président de la République élu conformément à la Constitution, je jure devant le peuple de Guinée et sur mon honneur de respecter et de faire respecter scrupuleusement les dispositions de la Constitution, des lois et des décisions de justice, de défendre les institutions constitutionnelles, l'intégrité du territoire et l'indépendance nationale. En cas de parjure, que je subisse les lois, les rigueurs de la loi.
Guinea's Electoral Commission declared that Condé won with 59% of the vote, although opposition candidate Cellou Dalein Diallo maintains he won the election. The commission said he received only 33% of the vote. The country's opposition had condemned Condé's run in October 18 election as an abuse of power. They said Condé has pushed through a change to the constitution in March in an attempt to bring down the two-term limit for presidential mandates. However, Condé said a constitutional referendum in March allowed him to run again, despite a two-term limit for presidents. While speaking at the swearing-in occasion, the incumbent president pledged to defend the constitutional institutions, integrity of territory, and national independence of Guinea. Guests at the ceremony held at Presidential Palace included 11 African heads of state as well as representatives from the United Nations, the regional ECOWAS bloc, and France. Meanwhile, Amnesty International says since October's vote, the Guinean security have been involving in serious human rights violations carried out with impunity.
Still in Nigeria-UK discuss post-Brexit relations. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo received a United Kingdom delegation on trade, which is in the country to discuss Brexit, among other issues. The discussions around improving relations between Nigeria and the United Kingdom across different sectors, especially in the post-Brexit era, as the Vice President noted, will make a difference for both countries. As the Vice President observed, the COVID-19 pandemic era offers opportunity for Nigeria and the UK to adopt innovative ways of addressing challenges facing both the countries, noting that education, capacity building in the judiciary sector, among others, are important areas of interest to Nigeria. Leader of the Prime Minister's Trade Envoy to Nigeria, Ms. Helen Grant, said the visit to Nigeria was a deliberate effort by the United Kingdom government to deepen conversations with friendly countries across different sectors ahead of Brexit. She said aside trade, both countries can work harder to strengthen ties in agriculture, health, technology, judiciary and other sectors, expressing her country's interest in ensuring that Nigeria records improvement. Brexit is the withdrawal of the United Kingdom from the European Union and the European Atomic Energy Community. All right, lovers, beautiful people, this is how far we can go on today's edition of Africa Diary. We hope you've really liked what we served you today. You've been updated, and of course, we were able to give you the trending issues. This came to you from CBA TV, the voice of East Africa and beyond. My name is Ajara Tijani. Until next time we come your way, remain blessed. Africa Diary says, remain beautiful, even in your heart.